Welcome back, my favorite Python programmers, to a brand new video, and in this one we're going to be doing a very, not simple, but a single function because it's Christmas. You all have dinners and presents to open up, so I will not be taking too much of your time, but this is going to be a very important one because we're going to be looking at loops and lists as a fairly complicated function. I'm going to do it in two different ways. One is going to be using the bubble sort algorithm, which is a very important algorithm you should learn as a beginner to understand how loops typically go through lists and other data types. But also I'm going to show you how to do it the easier way, and it's important in both cases. One, to build your logic. The second one is to know how to apply things very quickly. I'm also going to show you the advantages and disadvantages of using a bubble sort. Now, of course, I'll show you also down the line. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you this function right here, right? The alphabetizer. I'm going to let you try and do this on your own, and then I'm going to show you how we do it. You can use both ways. You can try to do it using two for loops. This is just a small hint, but if you can find using the simple function that's embedded into Python, then you should be great. Before we get started, a quick word from our sponsor, which is me. If you're serious about leveling up your Python skills, let me tell you about what I do outside of YouTube. I've been teaching Python for over 5 years now, and I run a Python teaching institute where we help students go from complete beginners to absolute masters with a curriculum that focuses on practical application and building real-world skills. All the lessons are one-on-one and they are personalized just for you. This tailored approach ensures that you'll start seeing improvement within just 2 weeks, and by the 10th week you'll be on your way to mastery. And it's not just Python either. We dive into SQL, machine learning, and you'll graduate with over 5 portfolio projects to help you stand out to your employers. Oh, and for young learners, we also have a super fun Scratch program that starts with Scratch coding and gradually introduces Python through game development projects. So if you feel that this is something that you want to reach your goals faster, or you have someone that you love that you want to give them this opportunity to, or some younger kid, maybe yours, maybe someone else's, that you want them to learn Python and coding properly from a young age, make sure to reach out to me via WhatsApp on the number that I'll leave right here or in the description, or you can do the same by sending me an email to the email that I will leave somewhere around here or also in the description. Thank you so much, and let's get started with today's lesson. All right, thank you so much for enduring through that. Let's go ahead and look at what we have. So we have loops and lists homework. So write a function, alphabetizer, that takes as input a list of strings and alphabetizes or puts in alphabetical order the strings without any regards to capitalization. So we have banana, apple, and as you can see, the list returned to us. So this is the alphabetizer. We're sending a list of strings and the return is apple, banana, without any regards to the uppercase. Why did they mention the uppercase thing here, or why did I mention the uppercase thing right here? It's because if you are trying to compare two strings, the uppercase is different than the lowercase. Usually the uppercases are considered as a smaller string than the lowercase letters. That's why I specifically said we want them to be without any regards to capitalization. So there's an extra function that you should have used in here. So let's go ahead and start writing this function. So right here, first things first is they need us to define this function, right? So define the alphabetizer, right? Is that how it's written? Let me check. Alphabetizer, exactly. So the alphabetizer, and it's going to be taking in string list, so str_list. Perfect. So what do we want to do in here? I'm going to solve it the hard way using two different ranges. Now, you might be thinking, why would we need two different ranges? Let me first of all show you what it looks like, and then I will take you through it. So first of all, we have for I in range, and the range is going to be the length of my str list, correct? The second one is going to be for j in range, and it's going to be the length of the str list, but this time -1. And you'll see why in just a bit, because inside, right, what we're doing is The way that this is going to work is we are going to be comparing each element to the one that's right after it. So for example, if I have a list right here, let's just create a comment, and if I have a list of bananas, and actually let me make this a foods list. So let's say we have banana, we have apple, we have meats, right? So what's gonna happen in the bubble sort is I'm going to take banana, I'm going to start with banana, and then I will compare it to the apple. And then I will put it right here. Then, since the banana is gonna be here, the apple is gonna be on the left-hand side, I'm going to compare banana with meats. And because M is after it, I'm going to keep it here. And then I'm going to take meats and then compare it with the one after it. So that is why we have two lists, or two for loops to be more precise. The outer loop, the I, is essentially going to serve as a counter for the number of passes through the list. And each iteration of this loop will represent one complete pass over the entire list. Now, this is what we mean by a bubble sort. The second, or the J index right here, is going to serve as the inner loop, which is going to go through each pair of adjacent elements in the list and compare them. So we're going to be using I to go through all the elements, and we're going to be using J in order to compare each one of these elements. So how is this going to look? Inside of our for loop, I'm going to say if the str list at position J, of course dot lower, because we need to make sure that we don't compare the capitalization and we don't take them into consideration. If it's greater than the str at position J plus 1 dot lower, I'm going to swap them. I'm going to say that str at J, comma, str at J plus 1 is equal to str at, you know what, why am I doing this? Just, oh my god, what? Control Z, Control C, Control V, and we copy these. And if you don't know, this is how we swap using tuple unpacking. Now, it's not tuple unpacking. This is how we swap without a temporary variable, to be more precise. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to send in. So I'm going to print out. Oh, I apologize. We need to, at the end, return the str list. So I'm going to print out Alphabetizer foods, and we should see that we have apple, banana, and meats, and that one is correct. Hey, so I came back with 3 very nice tests that we can do. So right here we have zebra, apple, banana, and cherry. As you can see, we should have apple at the start, zebra at the end, and then cherry after the apple. Then I also wanted to test it out on these, right? So I wanted to test it out on decimal numbers that are strings and see what happens there. Because remember, numbers are also characters when they are strings. And how do they compare? You should know this, by the way. And also I wanted to test it out on normal numbers with, for example, an empty space. So when I right click and I run, let me dog this right here so we can clearly see everything. And as you can see, apple at the start, zebra at the end. Numbers are considered smaller, and as you can see, O is behind the T even though it is up, or actually 4 is behind the O even though O is uppercase, and empty strings are always considered the smallest. And why are A and ABC not on the same place? Well, that's because B is after the A, so it's considered greater than A. Without anything. That is the reason why. As you can see, A is still considered after ABC, even though these are basically the exact same. It's just because we went over ABC right here before this. If they were in different places, it should not matter, right? As you'll see, these should swap places. It's just because it started at first, so no difference. And the B is right after it. So all of this works. So what I want you to do is I want you to meditate on this loop, because it's not an easy one. Trust me. It takes a long time for students to understand it. and bonus points to you if you can actually figure out how to make it more efficient. What I highly recommend that you do is that you try to do it on your own on pen and paper. So this is the hard way. You might be asking yourself, what is the easy way? Well, let me show you. I'm going to comment this part out, and I'm going to simply return sorted, and I'm going to simply send in my string list and tell it that the key is str.lower. Oh, but without sending it. And that's basically it. So now if I right click and I run, as you can see, we have the same exact output, but in a single line of code. Let me explain to you what this does. First of all, of course, we are returning the result of what we're getting. If I hover over the sorted, you can see that returns a new list containing all the items from an iterable in ascending order. And it makes sense. We're simply providing this and getting it in ascending order. Now, the only thing that we want to specify here, this is the tricky part. If we did this without the key, we would have different results. Let me actually show you. As you can see, in the first one, we have banana at the start because it's an uppercase, so it's always at the beginning. And you can see B is at the end and Z is in the middle because we did not specify that the key is for the string to be at a lowercase. So this is where the magic actually happens for the case-sensitive sorting. Key is a keyword argument that specifies a function to be called on each element of this list. So basically each time we are at a specific element on that string, we are calling the dot lower on it. Only then are we making the comparison. So basically what this means is you're telling the sorted to use the lowercase version of each string and then sorting it out. And that is how it works. But if you are ever looking to get into a developer role, if you want to enhance your understanding of code, you need to properly understand bubble sorts. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much. This was a quick one, not too long, not too short at the same time, with very, very valuable lessons. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave me a like. And yeah, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I will answer you as quickly as possible. Other than that, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. I will see you on the next one. Bye bye for now.